So today we're going to talk about 90s action films. Pretty much, if you ask me, is when they kind of perfected the action film genre, if you ask me. So what movies are we going to talk about? DC United.
Oh, did you want to list them all off or go through them one at a time?
Oh, yeah, we'll go through them one at a time. So what's the first one you want to talk about?
Oh, I get to pick. Judge Dredd's a good one.
Okay, it's been a little while since I've seen that, but I can remember most of it. I do remember how freaking nice the sets were and all that. I do remember the story was kind of ridiculous about his twin or something. He had a twin who was like an evil version of him.
Yep.
And Buscemi was in it. And I read the novelization of it. That's before I saw the movie. Actually, it happened a lot that I would read the novelization or the Mad adaptation. You know how Mad magazine always did their like satire of it. So that's how most of the movies that I saw like that first before I saw the main movie. So I didn't guess when I read the book Buscemi's character would look like Buscemi. I thought he would look like, I don't know, like a blonde guy, like a nice looking blonde guy. I didn't think it would just be like goofy looking Buscemi. So yeah, what's your thoughts on it?
I liked it. Like you were saying, in the 90s, they were really kind of perfecting the action genre. They'd had the 80s to really kind of work things out. And it seemed like a lot of these 90s movies, they are definitely a lot more lighthearted. Like, they don't take themselves too seriously for the most part. And I think that, Judge Dredd is an example of that.
Yeah. A lot of people were kind of pissed off, including Stallone, no less, that he took his helmet off. He loves the character, according to what I've read, and he didn't like the idea of taking the helmet off.
Oh, yeah? Well, yeah, he doesn't take it off. Well, I guess he does take it off quite a bit, huh? Especially in the latter half.
Yeah, definitely. Visually, it is a really nice film. The props, the city, everything, like his uniform with the big gold eagle on one shoulder and all that, looks freaking cool.
Yeah, their uniforms looked really good, and the city and whatnot kind of has a Blade Runner feel.
Yeah, mixed with a bit of a mask.
Yeah, and you can tell that they probably used miniatures and whatnot with the settings. The only thing, though, the graphics, I do think the special effects kind of fall off a little bit in the last little bit, like when, and it probably wasn't so noticeable back in the day, but, like when he and Rob Schneider are riding around on the Lawbringer or whatever the motorcycle things are.
Yeah, Lawbringer.
Some of the effects in the backgrounds aren't so hot in that part.
That's true.
I'd heard people say too, that the movie budget was kind of running out towards the end, and I kind of feel that way too. If you rewatch it, the effects in the first half are a lot better than the ones towards the end. But overall, I love Judge Dredd. I definitely wanted to include it in this list. And I snuck in a comic book movie, so it's always good.
I want to talk about Last Action Hero and how much I freaking love this film, and nobody gets it. Nobody gets
really?
It. Well, probably a couple people, maybe you and me, but I love this film because when I first saw it, I was like, people were like, oh, it's a horrible Arnie film. It's just a cash in. He's just they're making, you know what I mean? Like the whole, because he wasn't riding high at that time. I think he was kind of riding high, but at the same time, he kind of hit the top and he was like slowly coming down. And at the same time, Stallone had released Cliffhanger, which is a terrible film. Not terrible, but really mediocre.
They were in the same year too, right?
Yeah,
Cliffhanger and Last Action Hero.
There were even video games. There were video games that looked nearly identical that came out at the same time on the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, as you guys call it. Oh, wait, no, that's Japan. So Last Action Hero is a satire of the whole action movie genre. and it's a really, really good satire. Unlike, say, those satire films like the Scary Movies, which literally take scenes out and then just make fun of them. Last Action Hero takes all the DNA of an action film and just blasts it with radiation, if you want to, that kind of thing. Everything's over the top. Nothing makes sense. And it's hilariously fun. Even the set pieces in the first half of the film, and the first half of the film is set in Arnie's world or the Slater world, and the other half is set in like a very worse New York, because honestly, I've been to New York. I guess people out there who've been to New York.
Well, that's like how it was in the 80s, though, 70s and 80s. It used to be real crappy.
So it's kind of a New York 80s, what New York 80s would be, even though it's a 90s film, because apparently in the 90s it wasn't so bad. I don't know. I only went like a couple of years ago. But it was like the way they did it. And it's opposite sides of the country too. One set in California, one set in New York. Is it opposite sides? You probably know more than I do. Yeah, it's opposite sides. So the dichotomy between the two worlds is also a thing. So you've got Slater's world, which is shiny, happy. Only the bad guys die, all relatives, distant relatives of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Or Slater, sorry. He gets his cartoon cats, and the police force has an amazing shiny building. Sorry, go.
No, I was just remembering the cat when you brought that up, the animated cat that they have just on the police force.
And even the night, like, sorry,
I didn't know. Did you say Danny DeVito was his voice?
Yeah, Danny DeVito.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. You know, him and Arnold are in a lot of movies together.
Yeah, Junior, Twins. We have to do a comedy stream, 90s comedy stream too, because Arnold was in a fair amount of those too.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I mean, this is definitely a comedy action movie. And like I was saying earlier, by the 90s, they'd kind of, for the most part, mellowed out. Most action movies didn't take themselves too seriously. And this is one, like you were saying, it took the whole genre not too seriously. It's very aware of that. And yeah, I think it's great. You know, I'd rewatched it for the stream, and I was surprised by how good it was, having not really watched it since I was a kid. I even had an action figure of Arnold from the movie at the time with, you know, he has his little cowboy boots and jeans and red shirt and stuff. It was just like that.
Some guys,
so, I don't know.
It's really interesting because I love what I love about is that if you remember in the New York, when they get to New York, Magneto plays Death in it too. So how's that? I've forgotten his actual name, but the guy who plays Magneto who plays Death. Old Magneto, not what's his name in the new X-Men films. But it's really interesting. The guy's in the diner with the Jack the Ripper character, and he's telling him that if we kill Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know, the actor, not the Slater, we get true freedom. But they don't really, do they? Like the axe guy literally follows the script he follows in the movies, and even the guy with the glass eye does exactly the same. He follows the script. And it's really interesting. Arnold doesn't like Slater. Sorry, I'm going to say Slater for Slater.
Sure.
Has no personal life, as he says. My wife moved on years ago. Moved on years ago, and you go into his apartment. He's got a bed, and that's it. He doesn't have really any kind of furniture.
Like nothing.
Yeah, so it's
just empty.
Yeah, because the script writers haven't written his personal life because he doesn't really have one. And he follows the same thing. He follows his script. Why is it that while in New York, the kid keeps saying, oh, this is the real world. It doesn't work like that in the movies. And then they run into the bad guy. Why? Because Arnold and the guy with the glass eye are following their script. No matter what, their script is their DNA. And it could really say something about the meta thing about way we live our lives, like we go via our script. But then I'm just thinking too much about it. But it's interesting because the guy with the glass eye was talking to the axe murderer, and he says, if we kill this guy, we truly get freedom. They could have had freedom. They could have walked away. Yeah. The guy with the axe could have gone to another country. The guy with the glass eye could have just left. Also, I like it's interesting the whole, he shoots the mechanic and none of the police come. Him trying to like work out why is it all of a sudden the rules of this world are completely different for what I'm used to, which was really interesting too. But that's my kind of take on The Last Action Hero, especially the bad guys who end up following the same script, even though they could have walked away. They could have completely walked away, but they didn't. And he even gets the axe murderer. He could have got anybody from any movie, but he got the same guy from the same movie. He could have got King Kong. He could have got Dracula, as he was saying himself. He could have got all these bad guys, but he only went after the axe murderer from Slater's film. So he's still following the same script. He's still got it in his head, the same script. So I really wanted to talk about Last Action Hero and get that out of my system. So we can move on now. Your choice.
Oh, no, that's a great movie. Now, did he bring death? Now, did Death get out on his own?
Well, it was an accident. After he blew up the guy with the glass eye. I really just got to remember his name. The British bad guy. The British bad the European bad guy, as Die Hard has laid down the foundations for that. It falls in front of a cinema, and then Death comes out. But Death is not a bad guy. Death is like, he even says, I'm only here to watch because this guy's not on my list. So again,
I'm only curious, he says.
Yeah, and so again, it comes to the foundation of like people are following their scripts. Death is Death; he's following his script. The kid is again our eyes into it. It's really interesting. There's many opportunities where they got the kid they could have got the kid to shoot somebody, but they didn't. I really, really like that. The kid stayed innocent. He didn't kill anyone. He didn't attribute to anyone's death in it, which would have been an easy thing they could have done with it. And I like that because, again, he's just a kid. And he shouldn't have even been partnered up with Slater. But, yeah, the crazy rules of Slater's world. And I love he points out all the hot chicks everywhere. And there's something that took me a little while to notice, actually, the second viewing. Wait, there's nothing but hot chicks. In the
movie world, they're all pretty. He's like, you're way too pretty to be working at a movie store. Blockbuster. It was a blockbuster, too. Yeah. Like a literal blockbuster. And, of course, they have Stallone cast as the Terminator, so that was pretty amazing.
Which wasn't that their first go-to when they were first casting Terminator? Weren't they looking at Stallone at one point?
I think so, yeah. I think that's part of the joke.
Yeah.
There's a ton of cameos, too. Like, doesn't Van Damme pop up at one point? He's on the red carpet to see the... Yes,
Van Damme, Steve Belushi with his Asian wife. The original Arnie. And I love that the scene between the two Arnies. And he says, "You've made my life nothing but pain." I love that scene because it shows, again, I'm sure Arnold Schwarzenegger's not really like that in real life. Like a bit, so he's a little self-absorbed in this film, like the real him, and the Slater is more of the down to earth kind of cool, especially after the whole talk with the kid's mum, and so it's really interesting to see. And he keeps trying to plug his store too. The what was it, Hollywood Cafe or something? I forgot.
Yeah, and his wife doesn't.
And his wife's like pulling him away and everything. And I love that. What I love about that film is just everybody's in on the joke, which is really, really cool. Arnold knows it's a joke, and so he's in on it. And everybody's in on it. And what I like about that film. It also feels like everybody's having fun in it too. It doesn't feel like they're making fun of the genre. Instead, they're kind of celebrating it. That little bit with Hamlet, where the kid's imagining Arnold Schwarzenegger as Hamlet, is gold. It's pure gold. Only a kid would think of that, especially a kid obsessed with action films.
Yeah, that's one of the best parts. I love that whole parody scene.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to a different film. Did we actually move on and then come back? It's going to be Commando all over again, isn't it?
Yep. No, that's how it is with these Arnold films.
Wait, your turn. I gashed about that movie enough.
Let's see. Well, let's see. You didn't like Cliffhanger too much, huh? Might as well talk about that one because it did come out the same year too as Last Action Hero. They were both 93.
The thing with that film is there's so much to like, though. I mean, you've got the British villain, which is, what's his name? Oh, God damn it. Dick from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah.
That's
He's really
hilarious.
playing it up.
Yeah, the thing is with him, I've only ever seen him in last Cliffhanger and last, was it Third Rock from the Sun?
Yeah.
And it's
Me
really
too.
weird to see him play the bad guy in it. And
It's so jarring.
Yeah, it's like, and the thing with the movie, it's not a terrible film. It's just very mediocre. And even with the overtop bad guy, and one thing with these 90 films, the bad guy's always over the top. Even though he's over the top, he's not interesting. What's his drive? Oh, he wants money. But then it's not really, I mean, what was it named? The guy from Die Hard 1. He wanted money, but he also, I don't know, it's hard to explain. He just wasn't very interesting. Even though he's kind of over the top, he wasn't interesting. His motivation, oh, I want money. But, I mean, he was supposed to be a terrorist or something, or he went to the other side. And the fact is they couldn't use the money without him. I don't really understand. I didn't really, I kind of just lost interest in his reasons, because a good villain always has a really good motivation. Like The Rock, even though it's film, the motivation of the main bad guy was he really a bad guy? All he wanted to do was get the money that he believed his troops deserved after they sacrificed everything for their country. And so you felt like, you felt sorry for him. With this guy, it was like, really? You're just going to put on the voice and shoot people? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, his motivations were a little flimsy. It's a little silly, too, like their overly elaborate plan to steal the money from the airplane and, hijack it with another airplane and kill everybody, and, they had to have so many people in on it. And I don't know. There's got to be a better way to steal money, right?
I mean, I think that was the set piece of the film, because all these movies have kind of a set piece, and that big airplane heist was the set piece. I mean, I was thinking about this film, and it's very similar to Die Hard in a way, that they're trying to steal money, and there's this one guy who just keeps. I like a lot of films are like that if you think about it. The bad guy, he's got overwhelming odds. I did feel sorry when the old guy got shot, because he was like a painter who couldn't paint. So they all set this old guy up to be this. They always do that. They said, "Oh, look at this. He's a unique soul. He's salt of the earth. He wants to just help and save people. Oh, don't shoot him!" And they shot him, and it was like, oh. So the movie set you up. The girl was pretty cute though. Stallone's love interest. The one with the short hair.
Yeah.
In
a 90s kind of way.
In that 90s short hair kind. It's interesting. Terminator 2, most of the films we talk about, Terminator 2 is the only one with CGI. I don't think a lot of these. True Lies.
Well, other than The Matrix.
Oh, yeah, The Matrix. That's true. But that doesn't have an overabundance of it. It was only just for the bullet time. I guess we could move on to The Matrix. We've kind of exhausted Cliffhanger. The Matrix.
Yeah. I don't know if some of the robots and stuff were CGI or how they did all that.
That was probably CGI.
I know they did use a lot of practical effects in The Matrix, though, like when he is in the little cocoon human battery thing and it unplugs himself, or gets unplugged.
Yeah,
that's
that baby
all
wasn't real. That baby, the one they showed at the beginning, I actually thought that was a real baby because it looks really good. Like it wiggling around with all the cords sticking out of it. I thought it was like a real one. Matrix is a very interesting film. It's very 90s. The thing was, in Australia, we had a lot of crappy Australian sci-fi television shows. Television. And a lot of them were, this is the future, and the future is a bunch of those pipes and rubbish thrown everywhere, and red and blue lighting flashing everywhere. That's the future. So when I was going to see The Matrix, I was like, it's going to be like that, because it was shot in Australia. And Dark City, which is one of my favorite films, it's not on our list. I guess you wouldn't call it an action film, but that's a really, really good film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend seeing that. It's got Bruce Spencer in it, who's a very famous Australian actor, big, tall, lanky, bald guy. Yeah, it was shot in Australia, and I thought it was going to be like that. And me and my brother went and saw it, and I was like, it blew me the effing away. It's the only film I've seen twice, other than Lord of the Rings, first Lord of the Rings. So I don't see any film twice, and I don't buy it on Blu-ray or DVD until it's cheap. And I bought that when it came out. So that's how much Matrix affected me.
Yeah, it was definitely the best thing up until that point as far as action movies and special effects and whatnot, I think.
Yeah, that freaking bullet time. Man, how many movies did that? Do you know Witchblade, the television series, had bullet time?
I believe it. They just put it in everything after that. It was really cool and unique at first, and then they just kind of overused it with everything.
Oh, they always do. They always do that. Like
even
the
the sequels to the Matrix.
Oh man,
they just couldn't compare.
Especially after Renaissance and all that freaking collection of like short cartoons and stuff. I mean, far out.
Animatrix?
Yeah, Animatrix. They just knocked that up. Like, the Matrix was the Matrix, but then the Renaissance and the Animatrix and that, and then it just hit the levels even higher of people waiting for this film. And then the film came out. It's like, well, no, it can never be as good as the Matrix and all that Animatrix stuff.
Yeah, Reloaded just was disappointing.
Yeah, it was like Batman Forever. Oh, I better not say that.
No.
Not that bad. So we'll go on to True Lies. I love this film too.
Oh, yeah.
This is a little bit of a kind of a making fun of a little bit of the action genre.
Yeah.
This is probably because of what's happened recently with Tom Arnold. I actually like Tom Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger's chemistry in this film. I really did like the fact that Tom Arnold's kind of like the voice of reason for Arnold's pure brute strength. Like when he finds out his wife's cheating on him, and Tom Arnold is trying to talk him out of doing something drastic.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And just all over the film was really good. And James Cameron, whatever you want to say about his Avatar and all that other stuff, the man knows how to pace a fight scene. He knows his action scenes. The Terminator 2, Aliens, True Lies, the ending of Avatar, like that whole ending, the whole battle scene of Avatar. He knows how to script an action scene. The guy has some kind of, I don't know, he knows how to, and it's not just like over all the movies. Every action scene is specific for the movies. Like the Avatar action scene style wouldn't work in Terminator 2 because Terminator 2 has a certain style. And so the way he does his action scenes for Terminator 2 is for that film. You understand?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So he's able to change his filming technique to fit each movie. Even Titanic, whether you like or hate that film, it is like that whole where the ship is sinking, which I guess you could call an action scene. It's pretty freaking pretty amazing. I mean, people falling off, hitting stuff.
Yeah.
Like showing the cabins getting filled and the guys playing the instruments and stuff. So generally, the guy knows how to do an action film, and it's a funny film. It's well paced. I like how Arnold Schwarzenegger is the reason, or his character is the reason why things got as far as they did. If he wasn't concentrating on catching his wife out, he would have caught on to the main bad guy. And another thing, that film would never be made today. They could never make that film today.
Probably not, huh?
No. The bad guy.
Well, things have changed so much.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'm rabbiting on. Your thoughts?
Oh, that's all good. Yeah, True Lies. As far as the action and stuff, when rewatching it, I was surprised by how much action there is. You know, they don't shy away from explosions by any means. They've got planes and helicopters and, you know, car chases, gunfights. Like, it really went over the top in a lot of ways, you know. And yeah, it definitely wasn't taking itself seriously. I think that's almost a theme in these early 90s action movies, like you know, The Last Action Hero and True Lies and other ones like that. So it's kind of interesting that while they still had a lot of action, they weren't trying to be super serious, like Terminator, for instance.
I think that's probably the reason why Cliffhanger wasn't that good. Cliffhanger felt more like an 80s action film, even though it was like a 90s one.
Yeah, you're right. It feels like it came out in 85, not 93.
Yeah. Because I think it still was trying to do the action film that the 80s, we would have got away with the 80s. And if it was released in the 80s, I think it would have been more popular.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not
Well,
terrible. It's just like so
Cliffhanger, the big twist was Stallone dropping that lady at the beginning. Like, audiences did not expect that at the time because he was always the hero. Like, he never failed. So that was supposed to be the big twist and kind of selling point. And it's weird because the whole movie like takes a real sharp turn when they start doing the airplane heist stuff. It's like two movies squished together, I feel.
I feel that there's a lot of films like that. Films that were supposed to be one thing and they ended up another. Like, what are we up to? I think it's your turn, isn't it?
Well, Cliffhanger had the dad from Third Rock from the Sun,
Yeah.
but RoboCop had the dad from that 70s show. But he wasn't in RoboCop 2. In RoboCop 2, we had a random kid, huh?
Did we? To tell the truth, I haven't seen it in a while, and the only bits I remember is when they have the failed RoboCop copies, and one's a skull and it shoots itself. And I thought that was the most morbidly awesome thing ever, and I wanted more of that. To tell the truth, I wish they'd done and at the end he ended up killing him with his own drug because it was all about this drug. Didn't he accidentally kill his own kid? Wasn't that his kid, or was it just a random kid?
Yeah, see, that's the kid. He is one of the bad guys, though, the kid.
He ends up shooting him by accident or something.
Yeah. The kid does die, but he was a bad guy. It isn't RoboCop that kills him either, though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the kid and the main bad guy that gets turned into a robot, Kane, and some other people were working together, and they were selling that drug Nuke. And the evil scientist put the guy's brain into the robot, and then the robot, is addicted to the drug too. And it doesn't go too well.
Yeah, I like that film. I mean, it's not as good as the first one. Nobody beats Ed 209.
Ed 209 is in RoboCop 2.
Oh, he is
as well.
Again, I can't.
Yeah, there's a few of them in there.
Okay, well, if you're a flight of stairs, you'll beat him. But other than that,
right. Well, in RoboCop 3, there's a kid that hacks into him and can like take him over.
Okay, see, now that'd be interesting. I know there's a ninja robot in that movie.
Yeah,
it's been a while since I really should have watched that for this, but I don't know. I don't think I could suffer through. I suffered through Cliffhanger. Did you get around to watching? What was it called again? Universal Soldier. Was that the one I told you?
Oh, yeah, I didn't get a chance. No, is that a Van Damme movie?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd wanted to. I just didn't get a chance to.
That's fine. It's pretty cool. I like it. I mean, it's as you can go for that kind of thing. I mean, they made like 4 or 5 sequels to it. I've caught like 1 or 2 of them. The last one I caught, and that was just terrible. It's like it's like The Crow. They hit lightning with the first one, and they just don't know how to do it again, and they just keep trying to do it, and every time it just fails. And you go, well, the last 10 times you did it, it didn't work, so maybe just leave it. Same with Highlander. First one, it was okay, and they just can't get it right from then on.
Yeah, they often don't do a very good job with sequels.
Yeah, that's like lightning. They just can't get their lightning right, I guess. Well, they have light. They get the lightning out of the box, and then it's like Terminator 1 and 2, brilliant films, but every time they remake it, or every time they make it again, they keep failing it. We're not going to talk about any John Woo movies because I want to do a stream in the future on just Hollywood John Woo films, because it's a very interesting thing to talk about, because he has a very unique look on the Hollywood action film.
Yeah.
So we moved past RoboCop. So what do you want to talk about next?
Did you end up watching Copland?
No, but I have seen it. I do remember that Stallone was overweight.
Yeah, he was a little bit.
Sorry, man. I was going to watch. I have watched it. I know that he shot someone when he shouldn't have. Did he live on a boat too, or am I thinking of another movie?
No, he had a house. He's like a small town sheriff, though, where all the corrupt cops live.
Oh, that's it.
And, yeah, and they just kind of he's supposed to just look the other way and finally gets fed up with it. I don't know. I thought it was a really good movie. It's a more dramatic role for him.
Well, tell us about it. Tell us to the unassuming. Tell us why we should watch it.
Well, like you're saying, he's kind of out of shape, but that's like his character, and it's from '97, so it's after he'd already been Rocky and Rambo and everything, so he kind of came back in this role. And there's all these corrupt cops that are in New York City, and they set up a deal with the mob to own this, all these houses and stuff, and basically set up their own town in New Jersey. So Stallone's just the sheriff of that town, and he's kind of just been looking the other way on all the illegal stuff these crooked cops have been doing. And, it all comes to a head when he lays down the law, essentially. So I thought it was really good. And it's got, who is it? It's got Al Pacino or someone in it, too, I think, is the bad cop. Let me double check that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Ray Lolita? How do you say that?
Yeah, Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone were in it.
Yeah, wow. It's got a bit of a Harvey Keitel. Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
C-1000's in it.
I thought it was good.
Okay. So what sets him off? Did someone murder somebody who shouldn't have?
Yeah, it's a whole combination of things. Like the cop, one of the crooked cops is supposedly he kills himself, but then he sees him in the town there and realizes they've been hiding him. And then also the internal affairs police from the city that are investigating the crooked cops start talking to him and whatnot. Okay,
well, made triple its budget, which is pretty good. Was it well received?
Yeah, I saw that just on its box office. Didn't have a huge budget to start with, though, which helps. I thought it was really good. It's definitely one of his best movies that isn't a Rocky or a Rambo, I think.
Yeah, he's got two iconic characters under his belt, doesn't he? Rambo and...
at least. I guess Judge Dredd too, but they only had one movie.
It's interesting. I mean, now he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. Apparently, he's going to be in the third one. So,
I don't know if they're going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3, though. Remember James Cameron got fired?
No, James Gunn. Yeah, James Gunn got fired, but they're going forward. But they're going forward with his script. I honestly hope it's a prequel and it follows Stallone and his crew.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in those, huh? He's one of Yandu's kind of people in that. The Ravagers, right?
The Ravagers, yeah. Oh, sorry, it's a Marvel. It's a Marvel comic movie. Yeah,
I'm triggered. It's got Stallone though, so it's all right.
I guess we could talk, if you want, we could talk about Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
Yeah.
Judgment Day.
One thing to say, it's brilliant. Which ending did you like? Did you like the road or did you like the shiny, happy ending?
Jun, 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 jun. I don't know if I've seen the alternate ending.
The alternate ending is an older Linda Hamilton. Is that who plays Sarah Connor? Talking about how the future is bright and there's kids playing on the what do you call it? The thing that gets nucleared at the beginning in her dream. Remember, she had the dream about nuclear bomb.
The playground.
Yeah, the playground. That's it, and it's the spinny thing. I don't know what you guys call it. I call it the spinny thing.
The merry-go-round.
The merry-go-round. And the kids are playing on it, and she's going on about how the future is bright and everything. And there's no more Skynet because we punched Skynet in the face.
Well, the ending is they killed the T-1000 like they killed the Terminator in the first movie, basically, right?
Yeah, but then there's like two ending alternatives, like just before the credits. One is the open road, dark open road, which I like better because again it opens. But honestly, if they just stopped with Terminator 2, I would have been fine. It still haven't done anything of the future. This is the same with Aliens. I want aliens on Earth. Can't we have a movie where the aliens are on Earth? Why is everybody afraid of bringing aliens to Earth? Why are we afraid of making a Terminator movie set? They did that one Terminator film, but it wasn't really set in the future. Not like the dark where the robots are crushing the skulls future.
Yeah.
I want
like in the beginning of Terminator 2.
Which is the best freaking beginning of a movie freaking ever. Just the tone for the entire film. Robot exoskeletons with their Gatling guns crushed. And this is, mind you, this is after seeing Terminator 1 and seeing the only robot get crushed. And it was pretty scary how he was like this big freaking robot exoskeleton coming after Sarah Connor. And then in the second one, it opens up with about 3 or 4 of them. It's like, that's it. Humanity's screwed. Everybody go home.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's a brilliant opening, and it just gets better from there. There is added scenes apparently, but I can't remember. And it's one of the lowest amount of people dying in a film too, if you don't want to include the apocalypse, of course. If you just include on-screen deaths, it has a really low amount of people dying. Like that poor guy who got in the middle of Arnold and the T-1000. But hardly any cops died because what's his name? The kid, Edward Furlong. Is it Edward Furlong who played him?
The security, it's just the security guard, I think, that the T-1000 kills, and then the cop that the T-1000 kills at the beginning.
Maybe 1 or 2 of those bikers died of their injuries, but that was off screen.
Most of the violence is like them shooting the T-1000 and stuff. Like, it doesn't kill it, and there's a lot of car chases, huh?
Yeah, so
when he's on the motorcycle.
Maybe somebody crashed their car or something. But no, generally there's a very low body count in that film. Again, that's if you don't include the what do you call it? The apocalypse. Although when Dyson, is that his name? The black guy in it, when he drops the thing, all the cops that are knocked out, maybe they got killed. Because
Cyborg's dad.
Yeah, Cyborg's dad. Yeah.
Isn't he the same actor?
I think so. Yeah, it's been a while since I'm going to watch that film again. I watch it a couple of months. I don't want to get sick of it because it's one of my all-time favorite films. So I don't want to get sick of it. So I watch it every couple of months. Like a lot of films, I only watch Lord of the Rings every couple of months, only because it takes a month to watch it.
Yeah, it really does.
Oh, Lord of the Rings is really long joke there. But yeah, no, it's a really, really good film. And again, James Cameron knows how to shoot an action scene. And that scene, how's this for you? The scene where the Terminator 2's got the gun in the roses, he directly ripped off from, I think, Hard Boiled or The Killer, when the bad guy, when the assassin has the gun in the flower, he's got in the flower box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, James Cameron got a lot of inspiration from John Woo. I guess that's why his action scenes are so good. We really need to talk about some of John Woo's Hollywood films, because I watched Hard Target and I just far out. It's a hilarious film. But in a good kind of John Woo's first Hollywood movie kind of way. But no, Terminator 2 is definitely, it was released in 1992, I think.
91.
91, and it was one of the first films to use CGI, and it did it so freaking well. Even today, it looks bloody good.
Yeah, it really hasn't aged too bad at all. Like a lot of these movies, the effects have really aged poorly, but this one holds up quite well.
It's very subtle the way they use this special effects. It's not overdone, unlike a certain every other film after 2000. So yeah, no, Terminator 2 is freaking awesome, and I've got to watch it again. Thanks for reminding me. Okay, so
it's one of the best. One of the best films for sure.
Yeah, we should talk about something terrible.
Well, I was thinking Total Recall didn't hold up that well.
I love that film. I still love that film. Yeah, you're right. There are moments in it where it's like, but you know what? I don't know, everybody on the internet knows this theory, and there's only us talking, so it doesn't really matter who says this, but the theory is that it actually is a memory implant, that the whole movie is a memory implant, because at the very end, it doesn't fade to black like normal movies do, but it fades to white, so he's coming out of the days. And remember, the girl looks exactly like the girl on the picture when he was describing the kind of woman he wanted in his trip.
Yeah, and also, they allude to that in the movie too. They basically say that it could be that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of. So if you watch that movie with that in mind, I think it makes it a better film. Because I was watching, it's like, you're right. Yeah, like even that bald guy, when the bald guy comes in and tries to talk him out of the thing, is that just a random bloke that he brought to convince him to come out of the room? Or is it like a program to get him? And remember, he said, if you shoot me, it's all downhill from here. It kind of does go kind of nuts after that. I mean, he even shoots his own wife.
Yeah, well, she kept trying to kill him.
That's true. It's only fair. And there's those quippy one lines.
Well,
see this as a divorce.
Yeah. Right. That one, I mean, it's not a bad movie by any means, but the special effects don't hold up as well as some of the others, like Terminator 2.
Is it an earlier film than Terminator? Because that didn't have any CGI in it, Total Recall. It's all practical.
Well, I guess that would make a difference. I think it's maybe 1990 instead of 91.
2 weeks?
Terminator 2 had a huge budget, though. It had a $100 million budget.
2
whereas
weeks.
Total
2 weeks. I love that scene. And then he opens it and he goes tick, 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 tick. I love that. That was freaking cool. And he takes the old man's head off. And then the bit where he's pulling the thing out of his nose, that was actually a prop. Like and he pulls it, and I actually thought it was Arnie. It's like, wow, that's an amazing special effect. And the cab when he blows his head. F you, it explodes.
I was surprised when the cab driver turned out to be a bad guy, though, and like betrays him.
Yeah, or he was just like, you ripped me out of my seat. Screw you.
Oh yeah, that part.
But definitely the guy with the arm. Yeah.
No, the mutant guy.
I do enjoy that film, but you're right. A lot of the special effects still, like, especially if you watch it on a high def screen, the special effects really don't look. They really pop out, and not in a good 3D way, in a terrible blue screen kind of way. Especially the dome. But you have to admit, some of those designs and stuff, like the ship and the train and all that, they look so freaking good.
Yeah. The settings and stuff definitely look good, but yeah, you get the blue screen kind of outline around people. You know, when they're inside the dome, you see that a lot.
Yeah, you have to pull out your old CRT before you watch it again.
I guess so.
Yeah. So,
but it did have half the budget that Terminator 2 had, so I think they did pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes half the budget is a good thing because then you have to really be creative with what you got.
Yeah, and it gave us Arnold with his eyes bugging out, right? That scene goes forever too.
I decided to skip a little bit of it because I remember the first time I was just like, just stop, die already. Right? Oh, poor guys. But Michael Ironside, which is my favorite voice actor for Darkseid, and he should always do Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
When the new Justice League with Darkseid come out, they have to get Michael Ironside to voice Darkseid. I don't care. Michael Ironside's the only Darkseid for me. Is freaking brilliant in that. I thought he was really good. But most of the stuff he's in good. He's bloody good in it. There's always the main bad guy, and then his like lackey. It's and I kind of like that. That's kind of like
absolutely.
Yeah, because in Last Action Hero, it was the Italian guy who never got anything right, and it was the guy with the glass eye who I'll never remember the name of.
He had a weird name.
It's 180, you idiot.
All right. Not 360.
Yeah. And the thing is, the first half of Last Action Hero, I need to go back to Last Action Hero, is the Slater film. That's the entire film. Because and then he goes, he would have killed, that would have been the final like showdown between the glass eye guy and or Slater. But then the glass eye guy got out of and went into New York. So I just have one question about that film. You remember when they played chicken for the first time in New York? And
Arnold and guys in the pickup truck?
No.
That's in his movie.
Yeah, no, in New York, Taxi Driver. The kid says that the glass eye guy got away because he had the magic ticket. So did he use the magic ticket to go into another world? Because I thought the portal was only open at movie screens. I didn't think. Oh,
they don't they say at one point that it works anywhere now?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they actually have a line of dialogue in there because I just rewatched that. But yeah, they do say at one point that it works anywhere now.
Okay. Well, that makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah. So he's able to use it. He doesn't have to be near a movie screen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but he could have used it to go anywhere. Like he was just obsessed with killing Slater. You know, he could have just went into another movie or whatever.
Yeah, he was on script. This is my script.
That's true. It's like you were saying.
Yeah, like because remember at the beginning of the Slater film, remember how his son died. It's exactly the same as the ending of, in the New York with the kid, he throws the kid off, and he does exactly the same thing. And except Slater's the one who changes the outcome but technically the outcome was exactly the same way. He threw the kid off the building, but the kid was hanging on to something. I can't remember what it was, gargoyle or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was just like a random thing for him to grab onto.
Yeah. So kind of the movie magic was still kind of leaking into the New York or into the real world. And so Slater was able to take a bullet to the chest without too much trouble. I do like when bad guys have unique guns too, which the glass eye guy did. I always like that. It's kind of like this, I'm so bad I use a very unique gun. And he had that like big ass long pistol thing too. So Slater's daughter was hot, and the kid was really in love.
Really was.
Yeah, but no, everything about that film.
I don't blame him.
You just watch the background, and there's lots of little like hints and like T-1000s in it. Patrick reprises his role.
I was noticing there was all kinds of little things.
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah, when he's at the police station, huh? Yeah, and the kid's like, "Did you see that?"
No, I love.
And then he keeps saying, I'll be back all the time.
Yeah, that's your catchphrase. They're always trying to. Everybody's waiting for you to kind of shoehorn it in.
Yeah.
You didn't think I'd say that, did you? My very favorite scene is like after the big stopping the nerve gas, getting out of the tar pit and wiping off the tar like it's nothing. And the kid points out,
Yeah.
he goes to the kid, bring the car around. And the kid goes, oh, the helicopter fell on it. I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
And the fact is, the kid makes a point that maybe I'll get killed if I stay in the car. And so he says to get out of the car. So this is the scene in where if I stay in the car, I'll get killed. So again, it's really good because the guys who wrote it knew what they were dealing with, and they like little hints and nods and comebacks tos and everything. And it's really an intelligent film if you watch it again, because it is.
Yep.
I'm gushing about it because I really like it, and I don't understand why people don't get it. It's not an actual action film. It's a satire of the genre. And it's also a sweet film because Arnold, the kid, doesn't have a father because the father died.
And Slater lost his son.
Yeah.
And he kind of looks like his kid.
Hello?
I was just saying the boy even looks like his son that died.
Yeah. It bucks a lot of trends. And I like how the girl takes a fully grown man and throws him into a shelving unit without any trouble at all.
Oh yeah, his daughter, she's total badass, right?
Yeah. So which is understandable because he's a badass. And I just like the vague, my third cousin's uncle, who I love because he's cool and we like to talk about sidearms or I can't remember what.
Oh yeah.
So no, I don't know, I keep gushing about it, but I really, really like it. And I think more people should see it. And do not take it seriously. It's not a film you take seriously.
Mm-mm.
We should move on to something else. I see you got The Rock on your list. What's your feelings about The Rock? It's been a while since I've seen it. I think for me, that's when Michael Bay was his Michael Bay-est.
Yeah. It's definitely Michael Bay kind of movie. I haven't seen it in a long time either, but I seem to remember it being all right. With Sean Connery and was it Nicolas Cage, and they have to get into Alcatraz, and the terrorists have taken it over.
Yeah. Well, no, they're military troops who want to get paid because they believe they've been mistreated by their country. So they've got nerve gas, and they said they're going to kill people on Alcatraz if they don't get reparations for the people lost in Afghanistan or something. I don't know what the war is at that point.
Weren't they gonna shoot the missiles of nerve gas into San Francisco though?
But the guy who was doing it lost his nerve. I forgot what his name was, but another guy decided to take over. I think he ended up sacrificing himself or something for it. But it's interesting. It's very John Woo inspired film too. There's a lot of John Woo bit, but it's Michael Bay, and Michael Bay movies are headache inspiring. Like, I don't mind The Rock, but I can only watch it once in a while, and his style of filmmaking gives me a headache. Have you heard of a wide shot? Have you heard of slowing down? Have you heard of just not having 20 action scenes in one film? Just ram it down a little bit, Michael Bay. I know that there is a film theory that Sean Connery is actually James Bond, a retired James Bond. The theory is that, how he says he's got the camera stuff hidden away, so if they go after him, he can release it. Well, they say that as James Bond, when he was James Bond, he stole that from the Americans as kind of a way of protecting himself and his daughter. And he's really James Bond. The Americans caught him and stuck him in jail because they couldn't get the microfilm back. So it's an interesting fan theory, and I say it's canon. That's the only good thing about that film for me. I mean, it's a good action film, but it gives me a headache. Most Michael Bay movies give me a headache, to tell the truth. I can't watch a Transformer film. I come up with a headache.
Yeah. Transformers is definitely, it's hard to see what's happening a lot of the time.
Yeah, so you take a movie like Pacific Rim, which, whether you like it or hate it, is very amazingly well paced, for a giant robot film. It has its action, it has over-top destruction and everything, but it's well-paced. It doesn't give me a headache. And, it does what Transformers kind of wants to do, but without me having to throw up after 5 minutes of watching it. Again, it's me, but I literally do get a headache watching a Michael Bay film. And it's a shame because Transformers could be so much. And they keep settling it with him.
Yeah, if they would just zoom back once in a while instead of always being super close to the robots rolling around.
Does he know what a long shot is? Can somebody teach him?
I don't.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I was just agreeing.
I'm triggered by his by his films. It's like, would someone please teach Paul Greengrass what a tripod is? Can someone please give Paul Greengrass a tripod? Because he loves that freaking gorilla style cam, shaky cam, as I like to call it, and I hate that with so much vindictive. I hate it. Do you not know how to set up a shot? Do you know not?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's all right in some scenes, but like your entire film is shaky cam. It just gives me a headache.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Sorry, I'm going on about shaky cams. We should really be moving on to our next film. Do you want to choose one? Because I've been going on.
I've been picking most of them. Did you want to?
We covered Total Recall, True Lies, RoboCop, Terminator 2. Demolition Man, that's an interesting film. It's literally what's happening now in California. I like that film, though. And Wesley Snipes is a crazy bad guy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that one, too. It's definitely another one of the more lighthearted ones.
Yeah. I like how he just keeps swearing and it keeps spitting out the tickets.
Oh, right. It fines you for swearing.
And Sandra Bullock is super cute in that film, which is, I always like when the bad guys
Wesley's.
Sorry?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes got his head kicked off, too.
Yeah, I love when bad guys...
In Demolition.
Yeah, bad guys should always, in action films, should always go out the most, like, freaking big ways. Like, John Lithgow, that's his name, Third Rock from the Sun, he was in Cliffhanger. He got helicopter blown up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Last Action.
Or the terrorist in True Lies.
Yeah, helicopter blown up. We've got to think of all the helicopter blown up bad guys. Crap. That's the only ones I can think of. But the main bad guy always has to go out in a really cool way. Because then,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he can't just be shot. He's got to, like, crash into something else. And because I'm going on and on and on. Do you want to leave it there? You sound a bit tired.
Oh, yeah. No, I might call it good, I guess. It was cool to talk, but did we want to pick our favorite overall? Yeah, you think so? It's probably the best of the 90s action movies.
Last Action Hero, very close second.
Yeah. I can co-sign that. Terminator 2 and Last Action Hero.
Terminator gets too much love. Last Action Hero doesn't get enough. They can share the spotlight for a little while.
That sounds fair.
Okay then, cool. Are you going to? Do you want to edit this, make it all shiny, or?
Yeah, I could make like a highlight video and post it on my channel too, if you want. Or I was thinking of doing that anyways.
Yeah, just I don't know. Do you rip it off my channel, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
I can download any YouTube video, so once yours is posted, I can just download it.
Okay, groovy. I'll let you do that. Oh, did you try that program I passed to you?
I haven't. I've just been using mine, but I will eventually.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it works better for longer, bigger projects. I just haven't, it's like easier to use something I already know how to use, but
that's true.
I definitely will.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. I say goodbye to everybody out there. They'll probably watch the re-upload anyway. If you guys do, don't forget to subscribe to DC United and mine, although DC puts more videos out than I do. So you'll definitely probably get more mileage out of his subscription than mine. And hit a like button and throw in your comment. What's your favorite 90s action film? And actually, what's your least favorite one?
Yeah.
Thanks, DC. Thanks, everybody out there. Do you want to say anything? Any last words?
Oh, no, that's cool. Thanks for listening, everybody. It was fun.
There you guys. Bye.
End of line.